Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside the great, the legend, Phil Sims. Hey, man, it's okay. We can compliment you every now and then. Don't get all,
Well,
uncomfortable with
I
being
don't mind
complimented.
it, but you never compliment me when we're not on camera.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, hey, I'm just acting right now. But
Oh, okay, okay.
so,
Don't you like my decorations? It looks good, doesn't it?
it does, yeah. It's a very decorated background, and for all you that for all youths out there that just listen to the podcast, Big Phil has a beautiful bookshelf that has no items on it,
Nothing.
nothing.
All
He's
the books
working
that I
on it,
read.
though.
Yes, we'll get it fixed. I redid the room. As you can see, the paint in the back. It looks good. It's dark. It's going to be fun when it gets done.
It does look good. It looks nice and cozy over there. Good room for watching film and breaking down football stuff. Real quick though, just a little homework assignment here. BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and the number one source for everything sports betting, every stat, matchup breakdown, even live odds and spreads. Bet on during games with the largest catalog of odds and everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, and to political props. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Head over to the website today. Get in on the action. America's most trusted site for online betting. BetOnline. The game starts here. Okay, Big Phil. Homework in the books. We watched the Giants. We watched the Bengals last night.
Oh, man.
Monday Night Football. Man, okay. Well, let's go down. Let's take a trip down memory lane first.
Okay.
Big Phil, they showed some highlights of you against the
before
Cincinnati
the game.
Bengals. Yep. Yeah. Throwing for 513 yards out there in Cincinnati. I mean, did you feel that great that day throwing the football against that Cincinnati Bengals defense?
I took one of the worst beatings I ever took in my career. In that
Did
game.
You really?
Oh, yeah. It was throw it and get smashed. But it was good. Once it's all over, I can tell the story real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we lose the game. So you're not real happy that I throw for 513. We can't figure out a way to win it because we fumbled into the end zone.
Right.
We did everything wrong except, but so we go back and, I'm not like excited to watch the film because they're going to point out all the bad. Ron Earhart was our offensive coordinator. So he comes in, stands up in the middle, where I think, he's going to start nitpicking everything we did wrong. He goes, men, okay, here we go. Got 600 yards of offense or whatever, this, that, hell of a day. Let's watch the film. And he just took I was like, oh, good. Let's watch the film. This is great.
Yeah.
I thought he didn't nitpick nothing. Good throw, good catch, way to go. We went from like the 8th offense to number 2 in 1 week. In the NFL. So, but the way he took it was pretty cool. He used to get mad every once in a while because we would be really playing well on offense, and about mid-third quarter, just suck the air out of everything.
Right.
Bill says, just run it, get this run.
Right.
And, Ron Earhart, offensive coordinators, a lot of people look at stats, and that's how you get judged. He wanted to keep it rolling, but that didn't happen too often.
No, not with Bill. No. And so that was October 13th, 1985. Giants on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. And for 513. Saw the highlights too last night. They played him before the game. And I got to tell you, Phil, you were throwing the ball really damn good in that game. You had some really good throws. I did see one, though, like you were saying, where you threw a beautiful pass to the right sideline. It might have been to Bavaro over the shoulder. And you were getting.
I got killed.
You got crushed.
I remember the play. Yes, I can remember the play like it was yesterday. That one. Yes, our sideline. So we were going right to left from our sideline, probably on the plus side, just barely, maybe somewhere in there.
Right.
And I got hit flying through the air, but I hit Mark Bavaro or one of the. I can't remember exactly. I think it was a wide receiver. That's what it was.
I couldn't quite see it because it was a bang play. You got smashed right into the turf, into that Astro turf that they had Cincinnati at the time.
Oh yeah,
and also too, you threw it so perfectly on the sideline that the defender was all over it. He immediately tackled him, but it was a really good throw. Then you threw a seam to it looked like
George
a running
Adams.
back. Yes.
George Adams.
Yes, you threw it about 5 feet off the ground, maybe 95 miles per hour. Probably probably put a dent in his chest too as he caught it. I mean, but
No.
it was a rocket.
George is his son. Played the safety for the New York Jets and Seattle Seahawks. I don't even know where he is now.
Okay.
Adams. I can't think of his name.
Jamal
the safety.
Adams.
Jamal Adams. That's his
Yes.
son. And George Adams was a great receiver, running back, everything. What happened to him in his career? What changed it so much? He got that Bo Jackson injury to his hip.
Oh, wow.
went to jump over somebody, got tripped, landed on it wrong, and man, he was going to be a focal point of our offense back in the mid '80s.
Right.
But it changed once he got hurt.
Man, he was flying down the field. It was
yeah, good target. He could catch. Man, he was a special player. He could have been.
Right.
He could have been a star. I'm not going to say a superstar, but he definitely could have been a star.
Yeah.
But the other thing about that game, it was really hot and humid. I really got sunburned like big time that day. See, that's what I think of now.
Right.
But I'll turn it into this. Last night, I was so excited to sit down and watch the game.
Me too.
And I said, man, I think the Giants, if they can just get around 30 points, they can win this game. Because, I've watched every Bengals game this year, especially on offense. Yeah. And I thought, well, if they can keep the Bengals somewhere around 25, the Giants will have a chance. I never expected it to turn into the game that we saw, which by all accounts, if you're a fan watching it, it was ugly. I think it was ugly, not too exciting, but a lot of defensive players have played really well and some really well-coached defenses in the game too is what I took out of it. One of the first things I took out of it when I watched it even again today.
Yeah, I agree. And that's okay for football fans out there. Now, of course, the Giants fans listening, we'll get into the other stuff here in a moment, but just, that's why I enjoy NFL football so much more than college football, because of the fact that there's just a lot of really talented defenders in the league. There's a lot of talented defensive minds.
Yes.
Lou Anarumo, our friend over here from Staten Island.
He's
getting it done. Chris Collinsworth even said too that he had about 100 fans.
100, yes.
100, I can believe it. And there's a few extras too. Yeah.
Well, you and I both been to Staten Island and done a lot of football work out there with players and coaches. Yeah. And man, it's just a different world. And I got to tell you, I get a great kick out of it. I love it when I used to go out there a lot.
Right.
And Lou Anarumo, did he have that mug on last night?
Man,
he was this close. He wanted to walk out in the field and punch somebody. That's what he wanted to do.
No doubt. Even after the game, he
was not happy.
A player, I think it might have been T. Higgins, came up to him and he was still like MF-ing something, But I mean, hey, talk about a guy who knows how to keep his edge all the time. But
I'll tell you this. You know why, Matt?
Yeah.
During the offseason, I called a few coaches. I always do every year before the season starts to just get a feel for it.
Right.
And the Bengals were, and he and other people there were just so excited about their defense, that how good it was going to be. And then when you looked at it on paper, you went, wow, this is going to be really good.
Yeah.
And injuries, all the injuries, take 2 or 3 of your best players off of any offense, defense in the NFL, it's going to change it. And it really hurt them. But I know the Giants are not the Baltimore Ravens and other these big high-flying teams on offense, but they're still good enough to take advantage of the Bengals defense. I've seen a few weeks where they were really getting beat up a lot, but man, they got some guys back. You and I talked about it. B.J. Hill, Sheldon Rankins, man, 2 big athletic guys inside. Now that freed up everybody outside. They got more depth. And it just seemed like it fixed everything on their defense, just getting those guys back.
Absolutely.
What do you think about all that?
No, I totally agree with you. And I think that's something that even Collinsworth was mentioning during the broadcast that was very noticeable and evident. The Giants did a great job running the football, being patient with their running game up in Seattle the week before. We were just oohing and eyeing over how well they performed as a unit. And of course, Tyrone Tracy and how well he did and how explosive he looked. All right, now fast forward a week later, and here we get that same little Jekyll and Hyde, really with the Giants offense in general, right now, where there's good moments and then there's not so good moments. And B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins, I mean, talk about 2 guys that just immediately took away any ability for Dayball to be patient in the running game and to rip off some of those explosive runs that they got against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the first issue that the Giants had in this football game is that there wasn't going to be that just easy chunk plays that they got up there in Seattle. The Giants finished with 31 carries for 119 yards, 3.8 a pop, 1 rushing touchdown. But, your leading rusher in the game is who? It's Daniel Jones with 11 carries, 56 yards, 5.1 average. And hey, a lot of credit to Daniel. Man, does that dude run hard and physical? It's unbelievable because he's taken some really big hits the past few weeks as a runner.
I got to say, and I didn't hear Chris Collinsworth enough last night because a few people were watching the game with me.
Yeah.
And I was too busy yelling in between plays.
Yeah.
So that didn't help. But so many things there. I will say this, to go back to just Cincinnati's defense real quick. Trey Hendrickson against Andrew Thomas. That was a great matchup.
Yep.
Hendrickson is a really, really good player that nobody knows anything about in the NFL. And even though he's getting some pub, it doesn't matter. It's the Bengals, the defense. Nobody goes there. We want to talk about Joe Burrow, wide receivers, that kind of thing. But, he was very good. I thought that, the veteran safeties, I thought overall Cincinnati's defensive backs were all over the receivers for the Giants.
Agree.
Right?
Agree.
I mean, they were all over them. If they were going to run one more run pass option, okay, the RPO. Oh, I love hearing RPO. It gets me excited. Holy Christ. I'm so sick of hearing that RPO crap. Yeah. The Bengals were waiting on it. If the DB wasn't trying to intercept the ball, there was somebody underneath knowing that they'd like this. As soon as they'd see it, they were going right to the spot. And, man, Daniel Jones made some completions, but they were, what's the word for it? They were so hard. It was so much for so little. Yeah. Does that make sense there?
I agree.
They're going to catch the ball and they're going to get smashed in the ground either by a linebacker or the safety or the cornerback, whoever's covering the receiver coming in. I wrote this down too. The Giants offense, too many plays where nobody was open. Daniel Jones, I'll let you get into that. Some of the plays that he did miss. But I just wrote down hitches, slants, screens, and QB runs. Yeah. That was almost their whole game plan. And right. I think a lot of this play calling had to do with what, Matt? It had to be somewhat quick because that defensive line, which we've already talked about Cincinnati, they're good and they were getting after it. So it was a battle. And Daniel Jones he threw under a lot of pressure, took some big hits, but I do like the way he runs the football. I think he needs to do that to show him who he is and let's go in there and fight.
No doubt.
So I do like that part. It's not helping them enough, but we'll see what they come up with. They got to get better, and we'll see what happens. But go ahead. I want to hear some of your thoughts.
I think it's a great point, and we can't overemphasize enough the additions to the Cincinnati Bengals defense and how, because I think everyone saw the past few weeks this defense has been getting cut up. So okay, we should expect that same thing again, now with the Giants. And,
right.
I think those two guys just being healthy and active. And let's also mention, too, B.J. Hill, a former New York Giant, a 2018 third-round pick from NC State, was traded for Billy Price and a 2022 seventh-round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals. And to say that we see this all the time. Just how former players of teams that they used to play for, they're motivated. They play hard. There's something about it. You got a little extra gear when you play against former teams. And he really did a great job of reminding the New York Giants that, hey, I'm a hell of a football player and I'm a disruptive football player. I would say that the best play that he made the entire game was because he made a lot of them. But I would say the biggest one was the pressure that he had on Daniel Jones in the low red zone area early on in the football game that led to the interception.
Right.
Hit his arm as Daniel Jones was throwing. Jermaine Pratt ends up with the interception. That really was a huge moment in that football game because worst case scenario, they're getting a field goal.
Yeah.
And in a 17-7 game, Of course, these field goals would have added up. And that's really kind of where the Giants missed opportunities. The interception in the low red zone area as Daniel's getting hit, the 2 missed field goals. So the Giants left 9 potential points on the board, with those 3 drives there. But again, BJ Hill, his presence, fantastic, very disruptive. And especially too, I know it, every quarterback in the world knows it. Interior pressure and collapsed pockets, stopping the running game, but also as a passer. Yep, it's the worst. It really is. And they made it very difficult for them throughout the football day to be consistent. So it took away a lot of play action passes.
Yeah.
They're not running the ball well. Some of the stuff that we had been excited about was just the balance of running it, the running back screens, the play action passes now off of that run game, and Daniel Jones finding that great rhythm, right? You've said it multiple times how much you love the play action rhythm because it just makes it so easy, right, for quarterback. Yeah. None of those plays were really available to that same extent because they couldn't protect him consistently, and they just couldn't run the ball consistently either to get the best effect out of the Cincinnati Bengals defense with those plays.
Down there in that red area or inside the 15 or 20, whatever you want to call the money zone, the red area.
Yeah.
There was a play that I love the Giants had in, and it's the second time I've seen it this year. And you got to guess, is it a man or zone? What are they going to do on defense? Well, they were playing a lot of man coverage. So Brian Daboll calls a great man play. And damn, I even watching the TV when I saw it, I went, oh man, they just guessed wrong.
Yeah.
So they were expecting man to man. They were having crossers. I said it was a great design play, but they're in zone, nobody open. It could have been the play where he threw the interception. I'm not sure. As I wrote all this stuff down, I get a little ahead of myself sometime. But yeah, but my other question to you is this: there were some plays that Daniel Jones missed. Now I hate trying to talk about QBs. And it's a perfect world. You got to do the perfect thing every time.
Yeah.
But there were some misses. Tell me ones you saw that were, I think, big in the game.
Yeah, I think the first one to discuss, a little deep cross, he got hit on the football play. So this was one of the examples of they did a play action pass. They're trying to hit a 3-level vertical type of play. And for everyone at home, that's basically like big shot down the field, a deep cross that's kind of in the middle of the defense, and then some sort of flat route underneath that.
Right.
And he missed that deep cross, which would have been an explosive play. Again, being hit while he threw it. But those are the plays that, I expect Daniel Jones to hit those. The other one that was a little disappointing is coming out of halftime.
The fourth down.
They did. Well, no, before that, they came out of halftime. They ran a little play action pass, and they are trying to throw Slayton the football on basically like a deep stop route versus Cam Taylor-Britt.
Yes.
And he short hops it. And that's one of those where like, why? Yeah, why? Well, because, he kind of pulled out of the throw too quickly and it forced his upper body to go down too quickly.
Ball went down.
He threw it hard, but because he's, ripping his hip open so aggressively, it's kind of like what we see when we're on the golf range, every now and then. You have no control of it, and the ball is just going to get away from you. Right. And so that was one. The other one is what was the other one that you just mentioned?
There's a couple.
The fourth and two.
Okay, yes. Go through that play real quick for everybody.
So a little bunch set to the left, right? Balls on the right hash, 3 receivers. And it's a simple concept where it's a speed out by Slayton, who is essentially the most interior receiver in that bunch set. Right. So it's a little switch release that's very difficult to defend. So what do you do in those type of looks as a defender? You give space so you can kind of see how it filters out in those bunch looks. He runs a little speed out. This is where he throws the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson on a quick little choice route or sit route right past the first down marker. It gets batted down incomplete, but if he throws that speed out to the sideline, it's going to be an easy completion to keep the chains moving. This was definitely one where I saw Daboll on the sideline very disappointed and, very aggressively pinning the call sheet
right
to
to his
his face
face
because he didn't
'cause
want to see what people were saying. But we
right.
all know what he was saying. He was pissed that the quarterback missed the
And
read.
but you're saying this because it's not that we're not looking and going, oh, look at this guy. No, we know the read and what how you're supposed to read it.
Yeah.
So the first read is the outside guy going to the flat or
Mhm.
whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
flat
So that's
defender read. So
that's
whoever
why we
that
bring it
is,
up.
whether it's the
Yeah.
corner, whether it's the linebacker or the nickelback in that situation, it's flat defender read. If the flat defender expands to the sideline to take away the out, you replace him with Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. In this case, no one expanded. The corner got depth. You got to hit those quick outs there for the easy completion.
Right.
The other one, of course, let's discuss late in the game, the 4th and 2 at the end of the game.
Mm.
The Giants run a follow concept. And what I mean by that is, there's a shallow cross going across the ball, right? And then there is a short angle route by Wan'Dale Robinson out of the slot. So he's pressing wide, trying to make that DB think that he's going either out or vertical up the field. And then he puts his foot in the ground, snaps across, and basically runs like a slant route from that slot area position.
Right.
And if you kind of watch the replay, even on television, you could see this. The ball gets batted. That's thrown to Darius Slayton. But if he just is a little bit more patient and gives ground, he's going to hit Wan'Dale Robinson for a big completion that probably goes for at least 10 to 15 yards down the field. So those were the handful of plays that I think for Daniel Jones, missed opportunities. He did a lot of good things in the game. But these are the plays that I think going forward that, hey, we need to see you to start hitting these more consistently and not leave so many opportunities on the field like that.
Yeah, here's what happens. And, when you're playing against a good D line, which it was last night for Cincinnati, and you're getting, like you said, you feel it coming. You can feel it.
Yeah.
It's real. You feel the pressure, and it does mentally speed you up, and you try to guess. I must have done it 5,000 times in my career.
Yeah.
Have to watch the film and I go, oh man, if I just kind of just waited a half a beat, I got a 30-yard completion instead of, an incomplete or an interception.
Right.
There was one other play that I said to you, there was a double move by Darius Slayton. He was the slot receiver.
Oh, yes.
He did a little stick go. And anytime you see a double move, that's not there just in case you're looking. That's got to be the first look.
Right.
If you look somewhere else, then come back, you have to throw it 80 yards with these guys running.
Yeah.
So I thought that was when you have a double move from the slot and they played across, so it's going to be one-on-one, that's what you do. That's the first and maybe your only look. And no matter what, you're going to throw it, lead him down the field if he's wide, or if he gets open, throw it behind him if he's covered well with the back shoulder, that kind of stuff. And that was just one other play that he missed. And
when a game was the one where he hit Tyrone Tracy on basically like a little slant route on the outside. So Tyrone Tracy was outside of him in that situation. He hit him in an underneath route on
gain
that
5 yards. Yeah,
5-yard
gain. Yeah, straight in. Tracy, the running back, comes across, got it.
Yeah.
But that's my other thing too. Just to ask you, and let's talk real quick about it. The Giants, have done a lot of good stuff. I think of the Washington game, the Cleveland game, Seattle, and those are good, but it's just not enough big plays.
Right.
It's too hard to go on these 10 and 15 yard or 10 and 15 play drives to score. Sometimes you got to go out there in 3 plays we score, and that's great.
Yeah.
But we're not getting that, and they just got to, Brian Dable, I'm sure. But it's everything. Oh, can we protect long enough? Can we do that? And do we have the talent to get by people down the field? Well, I got to see some of it on a more consistent basis before I would say yes.
Yeah. I agree. It's hard work right now for the Giants at times, especially with the skill positions and all that. I would say that the silver line for this situation is the offense has gotten better with Malik Neighbors being out. We have seen at least a little growth from a few different characters. I mean, Daniel Jones, the offensive line, Tracy, all that. I think that's a positive, right? So, the Giants are this close from really their record being kind of flipped in the opposite direction of being 4-2 instead of 2-4. And that's where, again, it goes to, Daniel, like, just, hey, man, I think there's a weird feeling that I get sometimes that he's almost more comfortable being on the road right now than he is at home.
Mm.
And, I think that's like a real thing right now for the New York Giants. For whatever reason, when I watch them on the road, there's like a different vibe to them. At home, a little tight, a little uncomfortable, and hey, Daniel Jones, my advice to you is F it. Okay. Let it go. Have fun. Like, just don't worry about what people think of you. Okay. You got to just trust your instincts and just let your juice and energy and emotion go. Stop trying to hold it in and be this, stoic guy, because that's what we discussed a week ago in Seattle. He had a few plays and you could see he was like, woo, like, let's, and it's great. So now,
yes, it is.
Let the Giants fan base see that, right? Be your authentic self all the time that way. Stop trying to be, what Eli was or anything like that. Hey, just go. Just trust your instincts, go and play with great energy and enthusiasm. And that will carry over because you're doing a lot of really good things right now.
Well, let's turn it over. Let's talk about this Giant defense.
Let's do it.
I'm going to start out this way.
Go.
Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator. I've talked a lot about him, what he was.
Yeah.
But what I see now, he's got a what's the word for it? He's got a big Rolodex.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, wow. Last night, just everything. I wrote down all the coverages. Joe Burrow. When's the last time you saw Joe Burrow so uncomfortable in the game being a passer? When's it? I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And most, like I tell you, I watch him every week because I'm always interested to see what the Bengals are doing on the offensive side. And he was uncomfortable almost from the start. And I thought when he had that long run for the touchdown, I said, well, this will probably free him up. He's going to be – no, it didn't happen.
No.
He never got that rhythm and confidence and everything going. And I don't think it was because the Giants were double teaming Jamar Chase. I mean, still got this other guy named T. Higgins. I mean, Jesus. But they did everything, blitzing, zones, different types of zones, faking the blitz, guys coming, other guys pulling out, which confused him quite a few times.
Right.
So I do say this about him. I'm not going to say he was thinking about going against Cincinnati's defense because we had a Staten Island defensive coordinator. No, but I'm just very impressed with what he's been doing with the defense.
I agree. I think that they have really done a great job getting better each and every week, leading the league in sacks right now, really playing good in the defensive front to start, right? And I feel like that's where it starts for all really good defenses across the NFL. If you got a good defensive front, it has that ripple effect through the rest of the football team. And I think that is very aware. And it's unfortunate, too, that Kayvon Thibodeau is on IR now because now we're seeing, Brian Burns and Dexter and this whole crew really start to kind of find their form. But, Ojulari played.
It was
fantastic.
terrific.
He played
Unbelievable.
fantastic. He really
great
did.
game.
I would say the one snafu he had was just, of course, the free hit he had on Joe Burrow, where he kind of got caught in between, like, do I just hit the crap out of him or do I go for the strip? And he wasn't sure if he stripped him. So, I'm sure Shane Bowen was just like, hey, next time, just take Rydell in the middle of your helmet and stick it right through his soul because, that would have been as impactful as a strip in that moment, just hitting him. But still, he played phenomenal, the fourth-year man out of Georgia.
Man, I thought maybe he was afraid to take him down and fall on him for the penalty.
No, I think it's because he hit him, and I think he thought he got the strip.
Got the ball. Yeah,
now
it's just saying. Yeah,
look to find the football.
You're right, he did.
And, that's where he got like all kind of turned around because I thought that same thing at first too, but I think it's because he was trying to scoop and score because he thought he stripped the ball away from Joe.
But that was going to be a safety. Oh, my gosh, just the stadium and just the fact that they got on the board 2 points, as an old coach used to say, just get ahead, make the other team chase you. When that happens, it puts pressure on them. 3-0, whatever. 7-0, what, even 2. Just get the first score. But you're right about Ojulari. He was terrific. Brian Burns was fantastic,
He was.
I thought, in the game. And then, other guys that just came in there. Davidson, number 98,
Yep.
I saw him during training camp. Man, he played really well. And Dexter Lawrence had his moments too in the game. But they were very, very sure they were going to try to double him every chance they get.
Right.
And that's great. They did. But what did it do? The outside rushers had really, really good football games because they were too worried about Dexter Lawrence.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, big Dexter.
Ojulari, he had 2 tackles for a loss in this one. Brian Burns had 2 tackles for a loss. And Drew Phillips had a tackle for a loss as well. But just still, to rack up 7 TFLs, right?
Yeah.
And because of the emphasis on, hey, let's make sure that Dexter Lawrence doesn't destroy this game plan. You're right. It absolutely had a great effect on the rest of the football players on that defensive front. And you're right. You're right as well to extend off of the Shane Bowen thing. Just a lot of multiple looks. I mean, there's Chris Collins. We're talking multiple times about how quick of a decision maker Joe Burrow is and how he always knows to go where the football and all that. And we saw him double clutch and be very unsure of himself at times. And that's what was impressive too. Even when he wasn't playing great, he still had a few plays here or there where you could just see all the reps and the experience that he had. There was one, it actually was an incomplete pass. His best play of the game, he pulled the football down on one decision, moved back in the pocket, was well protected, threw an absolute laser across the field, and Jamar Chase dropped it.
Was it? Yeah. Was it an in cut?
It was an in cut. Best play he had all day. And he's like, damn. So it was just one of those days for the Cincinnati Bengals offense. T. Higgins, though, extremely impressive.
Yeah, he had a great day.
A lot of good catches, broke some tackles too. Really good catch over the middle too. While the ball was thrown behind him, he did a great job, right? Overextending, catching it over his opposite shoulder, took a huge hit on his shoulder and still held on to the football. But still, I think optimistic though, right? More than optimistic for this New York Giants defense and how they play and how, Shane Bowen and his scheme seems to be coming together for the personnel that they have.
Yeah, I thought that what really kind of during the game, you could see how it changed. The head coach calling the plays, the way Joe Burrow, they actually moved the pocket for him a few times.
Yeah,
which we don't see him do that too often. No. In fact, I'm sitting there thinking, going, hell, I don't remember him ever doing it. So
that tells you what, right? Why
it tells you
pocket. Yeah,
that defensive line was whooping some ass. That's what it was. It was a really interesting game. Very frustrating because, listen, I'm a Giant fan and you are, and we live up here, and we try to be fair. We talk about this. I give a lot of credit to Cincinnati. They won a really ugly game.
They did.
And that's not really how we look at them. They win because they're majestic. It's like watching, Bill Walsh back in his day. Joe Montana's, in rhythm, he's throwing the ball, and it's completed to Jerry Rice and John Taylor, and it looks easy.
Yeah.
Last night it wasn't easy for him. So I think you're right. As I watched the game today, I feel a little more I feel better about the Giants.
Yeah.
Knowing it's there, enough of it's there. I'd like to see the offense I'd love to have one of those breakout days for them where they get 450 yards of offense and the stats for everybody is good. Because listen, it too, Matt. There's nothing like that because there's a little bit of freedom that comes with it the following week. You feel good. You practice great.
Yeah.
Because we're on a high. We're not fighting to get something. They really need one of those weeks to try to find a way to get back into this thing and see if they can have a season that's good enough. And
and they're close, and that's the thing. 3 or 4 weeks from now, if we're still saying they're close, then there's the problem.
That's right.
Problem, right? Then it's not. There's something bigger than that, and we won't go into great detail yet. But just that's where we need to see 1 or 2 of those over the next 4 to 5 weeks, I would say, right?
Yeah.
And the NFC East, it's it's there. It's there. It's not like, the Eagles are the Super Bowl team that we saw a few years ago. It's not like the Dallas Cowboys are just this unbelievable team. It's, even the Commanders, I know that they're on a hot start and all that. I'm not sure if it's sustainable for the entire season for the Commanders to be like this team that has started great. I feel like, there is going to be multiple opportunities for this Giants team to honestly, I think, still win the division if they can piece together a few of these divisional games and play tough defense like they've been doing and slowly just get more explosive on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, special teams bother me. I know the two missed field goals last night, but you go to the Washington game, the kicker gets hurt, and they can't kick the extra points. And I know everything would change if they were there and they were kicking the extra points. And I understand that it changes the dynamics of what's going to happen afterwards. But man, that was big too. You kicking last night, if you make them, it just it puts pressure on the Bengals. Who knows? They might try to do something that they shouldn't have tried.
Right.
Because of how good the Giant defense was playing, and it could turn it around. So it could go the other way too, I understand. Yeah. But man, I always used to kind of get sick of hearing it. Special teams is 33%. No, it's not. First off, it's not. But but you hear it a lot.
Yeah.
And you got to be buttoned up, and your kicker. I think we're in a stage now about kickers, right, Matt? When somebody misses one, I'm like, what the hell happened? How did he miss?
Especially within 50 yards. That's just how crazy the NFL is. But and I think that's the key, right? To I guess encapsulate the Giants' loss. Some missed opportunities by the quarterback, Daniel Jones. There's no doubt about that, right? And that's all right. Hey, we're supporters of him, and it's not always going to be perfect, but there was missed ops, right?
Yeah, sure.
The other aspect, the 3 missed field or the missing out on the 1 field goal because of the turnover the low red zone area, the 2 missed field goals, the bad bounces too for the Giants defensively too. A few tip passes by Joe Burrow.
Oh,
all of them fell just fingertip out of reach, right, for them to get the interception. The inability to capitalize on Chase Brown's fumble late in the football game on the left sideline. Right. That was another huge moment. Hey, there's a handful of moments here where Daboll and the coaching staff are just saying, damn, can we just get one of these to bounce our way? But I think it's coming. I think this team has the ability to overcome what we've seen so far. Hey, 2-4, it's not ideal, but it's not the 2-4 or what we saw a year ago. This team has got more this season. So I have tremendous faith in them. And we'll see, too, if even the Bengals can use this as a springboard to get themselves back on track and do what the Bengals always do, and that's play terrible in September and then play great in October and November.
All right. Well, that was fun to do. I feel better about the Giants, so that's great. Hope the fans learned something here. And how about let's do this real quick. The Jets, we're going to do so everybody out there tomorrow, we're going to do the Jets early or whatever. Do a breakdown of their game tonight. Give me a score and who do you think is going to win?
Oh, before that, hey, Milan Hats, durability, comfort, and size. All right, they got it all, right? Workouts, everything. Golf hats, really durable, built to last. You can machine wash them anytime you want. Milan Hats, that's MELIN.com. Check out Milan Hats, test them for yourself, and tell them that the Sims boys sent you. All right, so now going back to the Jets game.
Yes.
I really don't know what to expect from the new. First of all, do you think that the offense is going to look that much different tonight compared to what we've been seeing so far this season?
I would hope so. I mean, what you're doing is not working, and it's just not. We're looking. Oh, it improved a little. And whatever. I think it will look different. There was a play in the game over in London last week.
Yeah,
where Aaron Rodgers made a play fake and threw it outside. I'm not. Was it Garrett Wilson? I'm not sure who it was, but he threw an 18 to 20 yard comeback.
Yeah,
and he threw it perfect.
Right.
And it was right there. And he threw it with so much speed that the receiver missed it.
Right.
It hit him and he dropped it. And I just go, why can't we see more of that? Him turning this back, making a quick fake, comes up, boom, hitches, throws a rocket out there, and it's going to be an 18. It was an 18-yard gain if the receiver just stands there and catches it.
Right.
So I want to see more of that. Todd Dowling, that's kind of what he did down in Tennessee. I'll be really surprised if we don't see a different philosophy of play calling and some play design by the Jets tonight. I'm going to say the Jets are going to beat the Buffalo Bills because I think the Jet crowd is going to be crazy, loud. For one, they want to beat the Bills, but two, they feel the change. Oh, this is it. Now we're going to turn it all around and go. Well, I don't think we're going to see a miracle tonight, but I'm going to take the Jets 23-17.
Oh, I got a score too. But
yeah,
I agree. I agree with you. I think the Jets are the better football team, honestly, than the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills, despite really underperforming a week ago against Houston, Josh Allen going 9 of 31 in that football game, it's not going to get easier for this Buffalo Bills to create explosive plays and to get open against this Jets team who, in all, I would say is just as talented, if not, more maybe in some cases, in some aspects of their defense than the Houston Texans. Actually, I don't know. That's good. That's a good debate for another time. But, hey, they got it. Jeff Ulbrich, defensive-minded guy. Nothing changes for them defensively. He is the defensive play caller. That's going to continue to go the way that it has been. Be patient in the run game, Jets. That's all I'm saying. Beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills just a little bit with running the football, especially with Braylon Allen. All right. I need to see more Braylon Allen in this offense. Hey, I don't even care if it's for 3. This dude is a sledgehammer. Just let him beat up some defenders and then build off of that, man. But I think, for the Jets, it'll be a win. Not going to say that's overly pretty, but yeah, I would say it's anywhere between 21 and 24 points on the board for them. And a low-scoring affair for the Bills. I think the Bills will struggle to create big plays and to put points on the board against the New York Jets. But that's all we got. We'll get the breakdown tomorrow. We'll talk about a few other quarterback performances that we were pumped about over the weekend. We'll tell you that newsflash, no one from the Jets no one from the Giants or Bengals game because the defenses had their way in that one. So, we won't be seeing that. But overall, though, still optimism for the Giants, and hopefully they can turn around, have faith that they will. Dayball, I think, and the crew and Shane Bowen doing some good things, and just, we're going to see it. The NFC East is there to be had. Big Phil, you the man.
Yep. All
Any
right.
closing words?
No, I'm hungry. Got to go.
Okay. On that note, we'll see you next time. That's
All right.
complete. See ya.